So much. And hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited for you to be here in this new process to talk about what's next after you submit your FAFSA form. So let's go ahead and get started about what we're going to cover today. So the first things first, today we are going to be covering what happens next. You have submitted your FAFSA form, and now you're wondering what the next step is. We'll talk a little bit about this new form that is a replacement from the student aid report, which we'll talk about in a second, which is the FAFSA submission summary. And then we're going to do a little knowledge check at the end, just to make sure that you are clear about the next steps and always leaving time for question and answers. So before we jump right in, I do want to say, on behalf of the U.S. Department of Education and Federal Student Aid, we understand that 2024-25 FAFSA form has maybe not been as perfect as you would have loved, as we would have loved. And we understand that many of you might be frustrated. Maybe many of you have not even gotten a chance to submit your FAFSA form yet. We know, we understand, and we are diligently working on it. But today we want to talk about what happens next. Because no matter where you are in the process, whether you submitted your form already or if you are in the process of submitting your form, then this next step, your FAFSA submission summary, is what comes next. And all of us need to be able to prepare for this section. So let's talk a little bit about what happens after you have submitted your FAFSA form. So, as I said, we are going to be talking about this new form, which is called the FAFSA submission summary. Now, there are 3 different confirmation pages that you may actually see. So we're going to break down all 3 of these because depending on how you've submitted your form and who actually submitted your form is the detail of what you will see. So our FAFSA submission confirmation. So if you are a student and you have submitted your FAFSA form and there is no one else or all of your contributors have submitted the form, then you have completed your FAFSA form submission. And what you will see is a confirmation page that looks slightly like this, where you'll see a big congratulations right at the top, and you're going to see your confirmation date. You might even see a release number, and you may possibly see a student aid index. Now, a student aid index, many of you might not actually see this number or it says that it's pending, and that is okay as well. But if you do happen to see this number, then please know this is an estimated student aid index number. Now, what is student aid index? Well, we are getting rid of what's called the expected family contribution. If you're new to the FAFSA form, you are not familiar with the expected family contribution. But if you're a returner, then you're probably familiar with what used to be the EFC. There is no longer an EFC, but it has been replaced by student aid index. Now, with this SAI, you will be able to have an index number. And again, I repeat, it's an index number, which means it is not a dollar amount. And I want to repeat that. It is not a dollar amount. This index number is going to be a way to indicate what your financial aid eligibility would be. So if you have this number, then you'll be able to see what your estimated is, but it is no way your official number, okay? Now, that is just for the student who has completed the form and did not need another person to complete their form. Now, what happens if you did need a contributor to complete your form? And let's say the contributor submitted their section, or you as a student submitted their section, but there was another contributor that also needs to complete, and therefore you can't officially submit your entire FAFSA form because you need your contributors. So this is the page that you will see. You're almost there, and that is correct. You are almost there. You just need that contributor or 2 to complete their sections of the FAFSA form. You'll be able to see if you have indeed invited them to your form, and also you'll be able to see their status if they indeed completed their section already. If that's the case, this is what you will see is just a reminder for you, student or contributor, that there's someone else that also needs to complete your form before you can submit. Now, as a refresher, a contributor is anyone who's required to complete the federal student aid form. So that could be you, a student. It could be you, a parent who's on the call. It could also be a student spouse or even a parent spouse. So whoever that contributor might be that's identified on your form, then that is the one who will also need to complete your form in order for the FAFSA form to be submitted. Now, there's one other scenario. Let's see, there's an abbreviated confirmation. This is if, again, you as a contributor, you come into your student's page, the student has already completed their portion of the form, and you, an extra contributor, parent or parent spouse or student spouse, has come in to complete their section. You will receive a abbreviated confirmation, which basically says that yes, these are the next steps. Now, this is going to be slightly different from the student. Only the student will be able to see their estimated student aid index if they have one. But you as a contributor who is not the student will not be able to see that information. You will only be able to know that an email was sent to confirm that you indeed have completed your part, and also understand that the student will receive all email notification about their processing and all communication with schools as well. So this is what you will receive as a contributor, an abbreviated confirmation if you indeed are not the student. Let's go a step further to talk about the FAFSA submission summary itself. Now, again, this FAFSA submission summary is after you completed and submitted your form. Now, the FAFSA submission summary will be processed in the first half of March. This was a recent announcement that we have just made. So if this is the first time you're hearing that and you're wondering, I've already submitted my FAFSA form, but I haven't received anything else, you are actually in the right spot. You have not missed anything. You are not late. You are right where you need to be. And there is when the first half of March is where you will see your student will receive a notification to say that their FAFSA has been processed, and therefore they will have access to this FAFSA submission summary. So just as a recap again, you completed your sections of the FAFSA form, your student has submitted their FAFSA form, and now you're waiting until the first half of March in order for your student to receive notification that their FAFSA form has been processed, and they also now have access to their FAFSA submission summary. Now, again, this FAFSA submission summary is the replacement to the student aid report, other known as SAR. So this FAFSA submission summary is going to be able to provide you more information about your basic estimates of your student eligibility for federal student aid. And I repeat, it is not your financial aid offer. Only financial aid offers will come from the schools that you have applied and been accepted to. That is very important. Just because that you apply to an institution doesn't necessarily mean that you'll receive a financial aid offer. Only the institutions that you have been accepted to, then you will expect a financial aid offer as long as you have listed them on your FAFSA form in order for them to receive your FAFSA information. So this FAFSA submission summary allows for you to then have access to what your estimated student aid eligibility will be for federal student aid. And I'm going to stress federal student aid because, again, it is not your financial aid offer. So anything about state aid or institutional aid will not be on your FAFSA submission summary. The only things that will be on your FAFSA submission summary are federal student aid eligibility. So I also mentioned access to the FAFSA submission summary earlier when I said that you submit and then it gets processed in the first half of March, and the student will receive a notification that they have access to their FAFSA submission summary. But what does that mean? That means that this information will not be sent to you via email, but it actually will be accessible through the student's studentaid.gov account. So you, student, will be able to log in using your studentaid.gov account, your FSA ID, username and password, and there you will go to your dashboard. And on your dashboard, you'll be able to see the form that you submitted, your 2024-25 FAFSA form. And when you click on that section where it says My Activity, you will also see a section where it says View FAFSA Submission Summary. Again, you will not see this now. Why? You got it. It is not the first half of March. You will expect to see this in your first half of March after the student receives that email notification that their form has been processed and they now have access to it. So you want to make sure that if you have submitted a paper FAFSA or you have not done it online, then you will still receive that email as long as you have put that on your form for a valid email address. So please note that all of these things are still going to be the case. The student receives that notification in the first half of March, and then they will have access by logging into their studentaid.gov account. And there they will go to the dashboard under the My Activity section, and they will click View FAFSA Submission Summary. Let's go a little step further just to make sure we're all on the same page here, because I want you to know this. I want you to master it, okay? So what is the difference between a submission confirmation and this FAFSA submission summary? Well, first thing first, your submission confirmation is something you receive immediately after you have submitted your FAFSA form. Now, what is submission of your FAFSA form? All required contributors have completed their sections and you have submitted your form. Also note that after that, it might also include your estimated student aid index and your estimated federal grant eligibility. It confirms that we received the student's FAFSA form submission as well, so that you know that we have received that and are waiting till the first half of March to start the processing. Again, it is not a financial aid offer. Now, on the other hand, your FAFSA submission summary is available to you after it has been processed. So again, that student will receive notification via email. They'll be able to access this via the dashboard, and it will provide the official. There's a difference between estimated and official, right? Exactly. So official student aid index, which gives your estimated eligibility for federal student aid, which includes your Pell Grants or any other additional federal grant information or federal aid. Also, you'll be able to see your FAFSA submission answers, and you'll also be able to make corrections here as well. Again, this is not your financial aid offer. So let's go a little step further into the sections of the FAFSA submission, because none of you have seen this yet. So you really want to tune in here. There are 4 sections to the FAFSA submission summary. Only 4, and we're going to go through all 4 of them. The first is your eligibility overview. So again, this is going to be able to tell you what your eligibility is for federal student aid. Then you have your FAFSA form answers. So everything that you inputted into the form will be here for you to review to see if any corrections need to be made. And then school information. Every school that the student has listed on their FAFSA form will be listed here as well with some more information, which we'll go over. And then next steps, if there is any that needs to occur. So let's go deeper. Eligibility overview. So again, we're talking about federal student aid eligibility. So what is federal student aid eligibility? Maybe you're not quite certain about that term. Well, federal student aid includes grants, it includes work study, and it also includes direct loans. So if you are Pell Grant eligible, or if you are eligible for another grant, you'll be able to see that on the form. You'll also be able to see work study. Now, your work study is going to be eligible based on your institution. So you might not see a direct number here, but it is a way for you to just know that you might be eligible for that work study via your institution, and then also see how much you'll be eligible for in federal direct loans. All three of these are estimates. Okay. Now, we talked about estimates earlier, and you say, well, I thought this was going to be my official. No, it will be an estimate. The only thing that's going to be official on your FAFSA submission summary is your student aid index. Okay, so that's the only thing that will be official on your FAFSA submission. All of these estimates are going to be one's estimates because you still need to have your official financial aid offer from your institutions. So after the student has been accepted for admission to the schools will send you what's called a financial aid letter, and there it will be able to have your official federal student aid eligibility there. Okay, so again, your FAFSA submission summary is just going to be estimates of your federal student aid. The only thing that is official is your student aid index. Now, please note, if you are a provisional independent student, meaning you have gotten that status for your submission, and it says, hey, you completed your form and you were not required to provide a contributor and you have provisional independent status, you will not see a estimated or an official student aid index yet. The reason being is that you need to provide additional documentation to your institution so that they can verify that, in fact, you are an independent student. Once that happens, then you'll be able to have your official student aid index. Okay, let's move forward. So FAFSA form answers. Now, this is the second section of the FAFSA submission summary that you will see. And this is all of what the student, and I repeat, the student has entered. So the student will not be able to see federal tax information that has been transferred in. They will not be able to receive or see any information from the parents and as well. This is only what the student has submitted to their FAFSA form. Now, what's going to happen here is that you will see these drop arrows here. When you click on those, it's going to open what's called an accordion. And in that accordion, it will expand and you will see all the information and all the answers that you've submitted. If you see any errors, okay, that could be typos, that could be misinformation, that could be, just wrong things, right? You will be able to make corrections here. If you see here at the top right corner, there's a button that says make a correction. You will click there and this will allow you to submit any corrections via your FAFSA submission summary. Okay, so if you already know you have corrections already and you're wondering when can I start to make those corrections, this is where you will be able to make those corrections via your FAFSA submission summary by looking at your FAFSA form answer section. Let's jump over to the school information, the third section of your FAFSA submission summary. And here, again, the student who has listed all their institutions on the form, it will show every single school that they've listed, and it goes a step further. It looks at graduation rates, retention rates, transfer rates, default rates, how much an average debt upon completion of students who have went to that institution, and even average annual cost. All these things are brought in from the fabulous College Scorecard team. So if you have not explored College Scorecard, we highly recommend that you do so. We do have a webinar tomorrow that goes further in depth about the College Scorecard and financial aid offers. So we encourage you to attend that if you have not registered. But this will allow for you to have a greater view on all the institutions that you are interested in and get more information about college affordability for that. And there is going to be a direct link for you to go straight to College Scorecard so that you can see more further details with that information as well. And then lastly, we are on the next steps. Now, this section is really important because it might require you to do some additional actions. One of those actions might be if you're a provisional independent student and you need to provide documentation to your institution, guess what? It will make a note here that you need to go ahead and do that. That is the next steps. If you need to correct any errors on your FAFSA form, you want to go ahead and do that as well by going back to your FAFSA form answers and clicking that Make Corrections button. Please note that this is a timely thing, okay? Because your corrections are important in order for your school to provide the most accurate information for your financial aid offer. So you want to make sure that you do this as soon as possible. If you are, kind of not going to do the required actions, then it's going to affect your eligibility for federal student aid. So we want to make sure that once you have access, you get that notification about access to your FAFSA submission summary. You want to go right ahead, click on there to your dashboard, log in there, and you want to view your FAFSA submission summary. You want to review all of these tabs, and if there's any corrections that need to be made, you want to go ahead and do that as soon as possible, because again, these forms will be processed and sent to the schools that you've listed. Now, if you're wondering, like, well, how will they know which form that I've made an update? Well, each form has a submission number. So the institutions will know if it's one of two, if it's two of two, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't have to worry about letting the institutions know that you've made corrections. They will know that by you making the correction through your FAFSA submission summary, and therefore they're receiving the most up-to-date FAFSA form that you have submitted, okay? Now that we cover all of those, let's see how well that you've learned. So the very first thing is you're going to see a QR code in the section. So I want you to grab your phones. I want you to go to that camera app on your phone, and I want you to get ready to scan the QR code that appears, because I want to see how you've been responding. So let's go ahead and get started with question number 1. Is this statement true or false? The student will receive their FAFSA submission summary immediately after they submit the FAFSA form online. What do you think? Go ahead and scan that QR code. I'm going to check over here to see how people are responding. Let's see. What do you guys think about that? Will the student receive their FAFSA submissions summary immediately after they submit the FAFSA form online? Okay, we see the answers coming in. Excellent. We're happy to see it. Wonderful. Okay, good. We got some really good answers here. All right. It looks like 82% of you said false. Let's see if that is correct. You are correct. That is correct. The statement is false. Again, the student will see a confirmation page first, or their section that has been completed. Remember, because if there's a contributor who has not finished it yet, they will not be able to submit. After they submit, then and only then will they have the opportunity to begin processing, which is the first half of March. And after that, the student will receive a notification that their FAFSA submission summary is available to them. Okay, so excellent. Let's jump over to question number 2. Is the statement true or false? We got another true or false. The student can correct their FAFSA form while they are waiting for their form to process. What do you think? Scan that QR code. Let's see. What do you think? Can the student correct their FAFSA form while they are waiting for the form to process? Okay, we see the answers coming in. Wonderful. Let's see. Okay, we see some answers. Excellent. Good. Okay, wonderful. You guys are getting really good at this QR code thing. I love it. All right, what we see about 72% is saying that it is false. So let's see if that is correct. It is correct. It is false. So the processing of the form is scheduled to begin again that first half of March of this year, okay? and a student needs to make corrections to add their schools or add additional schools. Remember, this is the first year that we are having access to 20 schools to be listed. If you have more schools that need to be added, then you can do that because the FAFSA form has already been processed. So you can also make those additions for schools. If there's any errors on your FAFSA answers prior to, you can also make those corrections, but after, okay? After. Excellent. Let's go on to number 3. Where can a student find their FAFSA submission summary? Where can I find it? Yeah, sorry, it's not American Idol, I know. Okay, so tell me, where is it? A, their student aid account dashboard, B, the school's financial aid office, C, they should ask their mom for a copy, or D, this is only sent to schools and not the student. Where can a student find their FAFSA submission summary? Let's see what you think. Is it A, B, or C? And see how well you've been listening tonight. Today, still not night yet. Excellent. We got the answers coming in very strong. Look at that, a whole 100%. Woohoo! 100% has said A. And you are right. You were just that good. You give yourself a pat on the back. That is wonderful. You are correct. The student aid account dashboard is the only place that you will see a FAFSA submission summary. Now, I could add another thing in here and say, who will be able to see that FAFSA submission summary? I hope you said student. That's right. The student, only the student will be able to log into their dashboard and be able to see that. Okay, very last question, y'all. True or false? The FAFSA submission summary includes the student's official SAI and federal grant, Pell Grant eligibility. True or false? The FAFSA submission summary includes the student's official SAI and federal Pell Grant eligibility. What do you think? Is this true or false? This is a little trickaroo here, so we'll see what you guys think. Excellent. I see the answers. We're so happy that you're engaged with us because we really want to make sure that you understand not only how this process is, but that you can share it with your friends and family as well, so that everybody is clear about what happens next from the first half of March. Okay. Oh, we are actually split. Yeah, we're almost 50-50. Let's see what the answer is. It is false. Remember what I said, that the only thing that's going to be official is a student aid index, okay? Your financial aid eligibility is only going to be an estimate, and you will only receive an official federal student aid eligibility from the schools when they send you your financial aid offer, okay? So the only thing official on your FAFSA submission summary will be your SAI. Everything else is estimates because it's going to be based on your institutions that you are applying to, okay? So with this new SAI index, it's going to be cost of attendance minus your SAI. So you need that cost of attendance number, right? Which is why your estimates are going to be shown for your FAFSA submission summary. Excellent job, everyone. Excellent job. So let's talk a little bit about how you can get more information and updates. I already told you what we're doing. The first half of March, we are getting ready to get our email. Who's getting ready to get that email? The student, you got it, the student. The student will receive a notification that their FAFSA form has begun processing, has been processed, and they now have access to that student aid index. So if you're not quite sure, maybe you're forgetting that it's the first half of March and you're like, how do I know? When do they start? All of that. You need to follow us. Go to studentaid.gov. You need to make sure you're on our Instagram or our Facebook or our Twitter or our LinkedIn page. You can also, again, see this recording as we're going to post it on the YouTube channel. So you will always have a refresher to be able to lean on.